as long as he continued to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's gonna continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter, a real fighter that can really fight, it's not gonna be that good.
How do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
I mean, what he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money, and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him, more power to him.
Champ, we appreciate your time.
Yeah.
No, we gotta give Nick, put the camera on PT. Yo, PT, man, we appreciate you. Thanks, P, for making this happen. P and Rilla, we appreciate the money team all the time, man.
And then by the end of the fight, it was clear this was a 58-year-old man, and he looked like a 58-year-old man. And I have a lot of issues with this. I don't think this fight should have ever happened. I think it says a lot of bad things about the combat sports world and sets a really dangerous precedent going forward. We're gonna talk about the whole fight clearance approval process and then just physiologically why he looked the way he did. There's a lot of just true anatomy and physiology changes that explain why Tyson looked so bad and play a role in why this type of thing should not happen. So how did this fight even happen or get approved?
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another quick rundown. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on the latest in combat sports. Today, we've got an absolute bombshell for you. Floyd Mayweather himself has called out Jake Paul following his controversial victory over the one and only Mike Tyson.
So I'm proud of him. I'm not really upset. Even like, it was so crazy. I remember just a while back, his brother was like, "Oh, I didn't get paid. It was just like I said before. He just want to keep his name out there. You know, as long as he attached his name to mine, he gonna keep my name out there. Remember what he said? He said, "Oh, Mayweather ain't on. He didn't pay me. Didn't pay me. Where's the lawsuit? If you didn't get paid, where's the lawsuit?" So it's a bunch of bullshit. But like I said before, they know what they're doing. Both brothers.
That's right. After the much-hyped fight, Mayweather is not holding back. He's got some serious words for Jake, and it's all about the fight's legitimacy. But that's not all. What really went down during the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight? Did we just witness one of the most outrageous spectacles in combat sports history, or was it just a clever money grab? Stick around as we break it all down, analyze the fight, and take a look at Mayweather's fiery reaction.
Big as the what?
Why was Mike wearing assless chaps though? Did
that moment go viral with his cheeks out?
I don't know. It made my stomach hurt. Though.
I was seeing it
Why didn't he
while
have
I was
underwear
ringside.
on?
He had a G-string on, is what he had.
Almost.
I thought he was completely butt naked.
Nah, he looked like a stripper.
But yeah, biggest live gate, 18.1 millions in U.S. boxing history outside of Las Vegas. A phenomenal night. I'm sorry I didn't knock him out though, guys.
Shut the fuck up. It was
really
crazy when
sorry.
we talked about this. I told him you were gonna say some dumb shit. You did the right thing at the end. You bowed. You kept it classy. He was wobbled. You did your thing. You didn't get greedy.
So let's start with Mayweather's thoughts. After Jake Paul's dominant win over Mike Tyson, yes, that's right, Jake Paul, Mayweather didn't hold back. Floyd, known for his sharp words and confident demeanor, threw shade at Jake for continuing to fight older opponents, specifically calling out the Tyson fight. In his exact words, Floyd said, "As long as Jake Paul continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's going to continue looking good. But once he fights a real fighter, it's not going to go as smoothly." You heard that right, folks. Mayweather's not impressed with Jake's choice of opponents and the way he's been moving in the ring. He thinks this fight was a prime example of why these types of matchups should never have happened. And he's got a point.
Yeah, after I seen him a little bit tired, I didn't want to put too much hurt on him, but I wanted the fans to get a good experience. But there was a point where all of my aggression and like super violence and like I'm gonna knock this guy out and show him, it went away when I wasn't getting hit much at all. And I don't know, I just
punches wasn't doing it.
I love Mike.
Walk us through the whole thing from the walkout to the fight to the post interview. Walk us through the whole fight from your point of view.
Yeah, this fight was just different. I feel like mentally locked in, like a lot less nerves than normal. I'm just getting so used to these moments. And honestly, fighting in a stadium, there was less nerve. It's less personal.
Yes.
So, and it's less loud.
Now, here's the thing. Mike Tyson, at 58 years old, is far from the ferocious fighter he once was. His age was visibly affecting him during the fight. From his slow footwork to the lack of explosive power we once knew him for, it's clear Tyson is not the same Iron Mike that dominated the boxing world decades ago. Boxing experts and even medical professionals weighed in on Tyson's performance. A body language expert might say Tyson didn't look just tired, he looked old. His movements were sluggish and his punches lacked the power they used to have. This wasn't just a fight, it was a physical mismatch from the start. And this is why many, including Mayweather, feel this kind of fight should never have been sanctioned. So, how did this fight even happen? Well, it's all about the clearance process. Every state has its own rules for granting a license to fight, and Texas, where this bout took place, has relatively lenient standards for older fighters. This might be why Tyson was able to step into the ring despite concerns over his physical state. But is this really the kind of thing we want to see in boxing? So, let's break down the actual fight. Jake Paul, for all his talk and hype, seemed to struggle a bit against Tyson. It wasn't that Tyson didn't land a punch here and there, but the fight wasn't competitive in the way fans hoped it would be. Jake, who prides himself on being a boxer, was barely tested here. Sure, he won every round, but was he truly tested by the 58-year-old legend? Fans were hoping Tyson would bring something more to the table. Instead, we saw a fighter who had long past his prime, doing his best just to stay in the fight. After the fight, Jake was quick to take to social media, talking about how great the event was and how he dominated Tyson. But here's the thing. His post-fight comments didn't exactly sit well with fans or analysts. Jake called the fight the biggest fight in Las Vegas history, boasting about its success and claiming it made a cool $1.08 million. Jake's comments about making history were met with backlash. Critics pointed out that the fight was far from historic in terms of competition. It was more of a spectacle than a legitimate contest. Boxing purists were disgusted by the fact that the fight wasn't about legacy or skill, but about turning a profit.
Oh, he sucks, or oh, he carried him, and more on that in a moment. The only result that I think people truly would have been happy with is a Mike Tyson knockout of Jake Paul. I think that's the only one that would have sufficed, and that wasn't happening. There was never really any doubt. He landed a couple punches early on, but there was never really a question as to whether or not that would happen. I think Jake carried him. I think Jake didn't want to knock him out. I'm not sure if he could have, but he definitely took his foot off the gas last couple rounds for sure. And ultimately, I'm okay with that. I predicted a Jake Paul decision. I thought it would be a little bit more competitive.
One such critic was Ariel Helwani, who tweeted, "The only result that would have made people happy is if Mike Tyson knocked Jake Paul out. That's the only thing fans wanted to see." And honestly, there's some truth to that. Fans wanted Tyson to upset the apple cart and make a statement. But unfortunately, Tyson's age just made that impossible. As the fight buzz died down, other figures in the boxing world weighed in. KSI, Jake Paul's rival, was quick to trash the fight, calling it a money grab and mocking Jake for picking an elderly Tyson as his opponent. The fact that KSI, a fellow influencer turned boxer, doesn't respect Jake's moves in the ring says a lot about the legitimacy of the fight.
Everything turns out great when he fights Tyson. Who knows what happens there, because Tyson is a very, very dangerous live dog in this fight. But if Usyk decides and wins and decides to come back down to cruiserweight, then the suit of the fight is right there for him.
Kevin Farmer's team believed that they won a very close fight. How did you score that, Oscar?
I had it 1 point up for William. He had the relentless style. He kept throwing.
And then there's Oscar De La Hoya, who, despite criticizing Tyson's age, also acknowledged that Tyson is still a dangerous fighter in the right circumstances. De La Hoya's take reminds us that Tyson's legacy should never be discounted. even if his body is no longer what it once was.
I'm glad nobody got hurt, and I'm always glad in any fight when nobody gets hurt, but especially Mike. Mike's my, we've known each other for 40 years, and, I love the guy, so I just hope it didn't take away from the sport of boxing and the type of show we had here tonight with like 4 great fights out of the whole card, and we want fight fans to enjoy the fights, not just exhibitions.
Now, let's talk about something that's been floating around the internet. Was the fight rigged? The idea that Jake Paul was told to carry Tyson or even hold back during the fight has been widely discussed by fans. Some believe that Jake wasn't trying to knock Tyson out on purpose to keep the fight going for the cameras.
Even happen or get approved. Each state has an athletic commission that governs licenses for combat sports. It's not a national standard. It's state by state, and there's a wide variety of medical clearance processes and rules in place from one state to another. That probably played some role in where this fight happened because Texas has some of the more lenient medical clearance processes. So here you can see if you're going to apply to get a license, you basically have to have a medical exam. You have to have some negative blood work, which is pretty self-explanatory. You have to have passed an eye exam within the previous 6 months. And if you are over the age of 36, you are considered a older competitor and you have to have more favorable physical testing, limited, including EEG.
The theories are circulating that the fight was scripted to make Jake look good without actually having to prove himself against a real fighter. But is this even possible? Could the fight have been rigged from the start? And should we believe it? It's hard to ignore the financial incentives at play here, especially with Netflix streaming the event.
Because what he was great at doing is getting his feet close to his opponents, changing the angle and throwing them punches as he was moving, and it was this fast angle changes which helped him have all of the success that he did have in boxing. And with him being 58 years old, which he is, not unless you're going to tell me that's scripted as well, with all the people who's telling me this fight was scripted, time really does take its toll, especially when you've not been living the life of an athlete for over 20 years. Now, as much as you wanted to hope, and I wanted to hope that we would see some little bits of the old Mike Tyson in there, it was sad we didn't. And if you ever seen Evander Holyfield when he fought Victor Belfort a few years ago when he was 58 years old, it was the same sort of thing. It was sad to see. Well, you might be thinking, well, if Mike Tyson was that bad, why didn't Jake Paul just knock him out? Because he was just moving slowly and he wasn't really moving his feet. He was like a sitting target for Jake to throw them punches. Why didn't Jake just put him away? Maybe you think the deal was Mike Tyson said, I'm not going to get knocked out, but I'll lose on points for my extra 10, 20 million quid. Maybe that's what you're thinking. Well, no. The reason why Jake didn't knock him out was because he couldn't knock him out.
One of the most troubling aspects of this fight is the health concerns surrounding Tyson. A medical professional spoke out saying that Tyson's physical condition made this fight dangerous. Boxing has to ask, should fights like this even be allowed to take place? Tyson wasn't in any position to defend himself the way he did in his prime. Tyson's legs in particular showed the toll of age, and let's not forget about his reported leg injury, which he downplayed during the fight. Fans were divided. Was this a fight worth watching? Or should boxing protect athletes, especially legends like Tyson, from entering the ring when they're clearly not up for it?
You know what the craziest thing about this whole situation? And honestly, the production value and everything on Netflix was tremendous. But as we got closer, we got more interested in this fight. Honestly, everybody was watching this fight because Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson. You know, I was texting Rogan earlier and I was like, I cannot resist the urge to watch it. He said, I'm going right now to watch the fight.
Cormier's analysis highlighted the challenges of assessing an older fighter's capabilities based on pre-fight footage. It served as a reminder that the physical and mental demands of a live fight are unparalleled, even for legends like Tyson.
I think, though, that the wool was pulled over our eyes, right? We watched Mike do all these things and we watched Mike in training and you get the idea that he had a chance, but he really didn't have a chance to beat this kid tonight. And it showed very early. Fight starts. Mike gets forward, lands a beautiful jab that rocks Jake. And I think immediately that made Jake realize that he couldn't be reckless against him. But then as time went on, he realized that that threat was not as present as he might have thought.
So where does Jake Paul go from here? After all, he technically won the fight, but with so much controversy surrounding the legitimacy of the matchup, many are left wondering what's next for him in the boxing world.
But yeah, Mike Tyson shouldn't be getting in there with a 26-year-old man. And I know Jake Paul's fucking joker and he can't fight and he lives in clown world, but he still shouldn't be punching a 58-year-old man in the head. He just shouldn't be doing it. I don't care if it's Mike Tyson or a man on the street or someone out of a UFC, 58 years old. I mean, it's too old to be getting punched in the head. So I'm hoping that the contract's sensible and they're going to take the time a little bit. I mean, Jake Paul's probably going to try and chin him in it because he's got a massive ego and he wants everyone to believe he's a great fighter. I don't know what pleasure you can take from beating an old Mike Tyson. I don't know what you get. Like, say Danny Williams beat him, and that's no disrespect to Danny Williams, but like a peak Mike Tyson, the peak Danny Williams is a mismatch. And Danny Williams beat him. He beat him because Mike Tyson was too old, finished. Mike Tyson's now 58, smoking weed, getting carried off airplanes because his back's fucked.
Will he continue to face older, less capable fighters for the sake of his undefeated record? Or will he step up and take on some real competition to silence the critics once and for all? And that's wrap for today's quick rundown. What do you think about the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight? Was it an unfair mismatch? Was it a scripted spectacle for the cameras? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on the latest combat sports news. Until next time, fight fans,